Welcome up to the show, guys. This is Studio 321. This is your podcast host, Eddie B. So, they always say, and you hear it all the time, they say elections have consequences, right? And, I think we all kind of like blow that off, but I want you to think about something for a minute, right? With all the stuff that's going on right now, the whole war in Ukraine, Trump's negotiating all those deals with Putin and the White House meeting with Zelensky where he kind of threw him out of the White House. Could you imagine just for a second if Kamala Harris had won and was handling all these negotiations?
I grew up understanding the children of the community are the children of the community.
In one term, he has already, yes, you may clap.
You need to get to go and need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work and get home.
We did it, Joe. You're gonna be the next president of the United States.
I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context.
Does anybody think that would go right? Does anybody think that she would do a good job on any of this? There's no way. Now, look, when she was on the campaign trail, they were making her look pretty smart and doing everything. And, they were, editing everything she said. But now that she's not on the campaign trail anymore, there's been a lot of clips out of her just like doing regular interviews. And God, she is dumb. I mean, look, I'm not trying to be mean, but she's twice as bad now because they're not editing everything she said and they're not handing her the questions and doing all this. She's terrible. And I watched one of her interviews the other day and then I was watching some stuff tonight about the Zelensky, interview at the White House and stuff when they were trying to make that deal for the minerals. And I was thinking to myself, man, we really dodged a bullet on this one. Because if she was in charge of all this stuff right now, it would be a total mess. And not to mention the fact that, you got a war going on where thousands of people are dying every day. And, Trump keeps talking about just wanting to get it stopped so he can stop the killing. I don't think this thing would ever end if she had won because, she would just be getting told what to do basically. And the Democrats wanted this war anyways. That's why it basically happened. So, to think she would ever do anything to stop it, it would never stop. We'd be funding that thing for the next 5 years, and then they lose in the end anyways. But yeah, I mean, it's scary to think, man. And we won by what, like 2%. So that's where we're at right now. We just really got lucky with Trump getting in there. And look. It's not a perfect situation that he's in anyways. There's a lot of stuff going on. He kind of got handed a real bad deal in this situation anyways because Russia doesn't really need to stop this war. They don't. I know they keep saying, Russia needs to end it too, but they're winning. It's like, if you're winning a fight, do you need to stop it? Do you need somebody to break it up? No, you don't need that because you're winning, right? And that's what's going on there. They're winning the fight. Yes, they're taking some damage. But the truth is, if Russia wanted to, they could just steamroll that entire country and basically take the whole thing if they wanted to. I don't think they want that because they don't. I mean, I don't see the advantage of destroying a country, then taking it and then having to pay to rebuild it. Because Russia doesn't have that kind of money. But I feel like Trump's just in a bad position right now because he's got, on one hand, Putin doesn't need to end the war because he's winning. The American people want this ended because of all the money, that's involved because now we're figuring out that half of it has disappeared anyways. Half of the, they're saying it's between $200 and $400 billion. Now, I don't know where that falls in there. It might be a little exaggeration, might be a little under exaggeration. But the majority of Americans are kind of pissed about that, and because we're having money trouble over here anyways. So we'd like to see some of that money back. They're saying that if they sign the deal for the rare earth minerals in Ukraine, so where we can harvest those minerals over the next so many years, then that'll be payback for the war. And I guess it would. I don't think the people of America would see any of that money. It would go back to our government, but maybe it would help pay down some debts and keep inflation down or whatever. But the point of that is he's trying to get Zelensky to sign this deal. He knows Putin can kind of go either way on this because he doesn't really need to stop because he's winning. Trump needs to stop it because he promised he would stop it, and so there's a lot of pressure now. I think everybody saw Trump basically kind of threw Zelensky out of the Oval Office the other day, or I think it was in the Oval Office, but they had that meeting, and kind of erupted into chaos, and he basically told him, get out of here and come back when you want to make a real deal.
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly
Remember this.
what
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
I'm not playing
cards.
cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
I personally believe that Zelensky just did that to kind of make himself so he didn't look like a punk, to be honest. Trump's such a overpowering figure, and he's called Zelensky some names in the past, and he's kind of like got that, strongman syndrome, and so I think Zelensky just kind of wanted to go in there and kind of jerk his chain a little bit and kind of piss him off, just to show some strength for himself, because if he wants to remain the leader of Ukraine when this is all over, he's going to have to show some strength, like that he was standing up for Ukraine or whatever. So I think a lot of that was posturing. I don't think that little things like personality quirks and stuff like that are going to cause any problems with the real deal, because look, you see one thing on TV, and then behind the scenes you're gonna see another. It's gonna be another thing. Stuff that's on the paper that they're signing, we're not going to know what that is for some time. But I hope they can get this ironed out, and get this over with. Because I was listening to Trump yesterday talk about it, and he is right, man. You got 2,500 people a day dying, and a lot of these people are young guys out there. Half of them have been conscripted into fight because they weren't volunteers, and they're out there basically fighting, waiting for a deal to be made. You know what I'm saying? And who the hell wants to be the guy to die on the last day of the war? It's just not. It doesn't sound very appetizing. But yeah, we'll see. But it's crazy because I understand right now there's like the Democrat Party doesn't have a lot to stand on, and they're kind of just acting weird, but they keep it. It's very, I don't know what you call it. I don't want to say, is it distasteful or what, but Trump's in the middle of this deal, right? And every news reporter in the world goes up and tries to get Donald Trump to say, oh, you know, Putin's a thug, Putin's a dictator, Putin's a piece of crap, whatever. And Trump won't do it right now. And then those same news people run out to America and they go, oh, Trump's a Putin puppet, Trump's a Putin puppet. And I'm looking at, you know, I watched this and I really don't know because I'm not on the inside with them, but it's either one of two things. Either those people are complete idiots or they're just using it as manipulation tactics, because anybody that's ever dealt with anybody on any kind of deal, and I've done small deals. I mean, even like buying a car, buying a house, buying some land, you know, doing this, doing that, buying whatever. Would you walk up to somebody and just insult them for 5 minutes and then try to make a deal with them? No, you wouldn't, right? You take them out to lunch. You make friends with them. You talk with them, even if you don't like them. That's what business is all about, man. You know what I mean? That's why people get company cards. You know what I'm saying? You get an expense account because you're taking people out. You want to have a drink with them. You want to get to know them. You want to talk with them a little bit. Even if you don't like them, it doesn't matter. You're there to make a deal. It's the same with on a giant level with world leaders. He can't sit there and call Putin all these names and then expect Putin next week to come out and make a deal with him. It ain't going to happen. You know, it's one of those things where, and I actually, to be honest with you, Trump takes a lot of flack from our own press, but I think it's actually works in his favor, because I think when he gets in a private room with Putin, he could look right at him and go, listen, man, you know, they want me to, you know, talk bad about you. I take a lot of flack for you. Okay. Let's make a deal. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's hook it up. You owe me one, basically. Because in the past, you know, everybody just run their mouth. Now, Joe Biden ran his mouth about Putin all the time. Called him all kinds of names. Well, basically that didn't stop anything. A war started. So, you know, it just drives me crazy, man. The Democrats are out there all day long just, oh, he's a Putin puppet, he's a Putin puppet. Well, I'm going to say this, okay? If he stops this war, he's a hero. I don't care how he does it. I don't care. Because, again, it doesn't matter what he says to Putin, what he does. If he gets this war stopped, that's 2,500 people a day that ain't dying. Young people, Russian and Ukrainian, who ain't got, you know, they're not the ones started this war. They're just fighting a war. It's the way it always goes. Young guys die, old guys start the war. That's the way it always goes. And you know what? It's a shame. So if he gets it stopped, he's a hero. I don't care how he does it, okay? But it's just shameful to watch our own press. You'd think they could, you know, have some like class and, you know, just say, you know what? We'll attack them on all the other subjects or whatever, maybe, you know, trade or whatever, and just leave the Russia stuff alone right now while you're in the middle of sensitive negotiations. But they can't do it, man, because this is the same Democrat Party, and you saw it over the last 4 years. They would rather burn the country down, you know, by keeping a moron like Joe Biden in place who, you know, didn't even know what planet he's on. They would rather burn it down than give over control. And that's actually sick. And that's the same thing they're doing right now. You know, they're coming at Donald Trump. I know that they're hoping he doesn't solve this war. I know it. You can see it when they interview him. They're hoping that he doesn't get a chance to solve this war so that they can go, nah, he didn't do what he said. But the reality of that is, again, remember, there's 2,500 people a day dying on the battlefield right now for basically nothing. So, you know, we're going to see how this all pans out, but it's kind of disgusting. I wish they could just get over themselves and leave it alone and let him just handle these, you know, negotiations with his team. And look, if it doesn't work out in the end, criticize them all you want. But right now, they should be quiet about this and just do other things. But anyways, guys, if you like my video, please like and subscribe. It really helps me if you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification, so when we do new videos, it'll you know, go to your phone. But you know, this is Eddie from 321, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.